Face the wall. Do not move. The command comes in broken, jagged German. It is not a request. It is the bark of a man holding a weapon. Elfriede freezes, her knuckles turning white as she grips the edge of the wooden table. The air in the tent is thick, smelling of stale tobacco, mud, and something sharp like rubbing alcohol. She squeezes her eyes shut. This is it. This is exactly what the radio broadcasts had warned her about for years. The silence stretches out. It is heavy and suffocating. Behind her, she hears the heavy thud of military boots on the canvas floor. 1 step. 2 steps. Then, the metallic clack of a tool being placed on a tray. It sounds like a knife, or perhaps something worse. Her breath catches in her throat, a jagged lump of terror she cannot swallow. She tries to stop trembling, but her body betrays her. The exhaustion of the last month has stripped away her defenses. She is 19 years old, but she feels 100. Her uniform is stiff with grime, hanging loosely on a frame that has forgotten the feeling of a full meal. But the hunger is nothing compared to the pain. Please, make sure to watch until the very end, because the ending of this story will completely overturn your understanding of human nature in the midst of war. It is April 1945. The Ruhr pocket in Germany has collapsed. The 1000-year Reich is crumbling into dust and rubble. For Elfriede, a communication auxiliary, the war has been a slow descent into hell, but the physical destruction of the cities was one thing. The psychological terror was another. The propaganda machine had done its work well. Joseph Goebbels had painted the American G as not as soldiers, but as gangsters, Chicago mobsters let loose on the civilized world. Beasts with no culture, driven only by cruelty and lust. They will not treat you as prisoners. The whispers went among the girls in her unit. They will use you, break you, and discard you. When the surrender came, Elfriede had considered running into the woods, but there was nowhere to run. Her unit was rounded up by a squad of dusty, chewing, loud men in olive drab. They didn't shoot. They just pointed. Truck, one had grunted, and that was when the real torture began. It wasn't a bullet. It was the ride. For weeks, Elfriede had been suffering from severe carbuncles massive, infected boils on the back of her legs and lower body. It was a common affliction born of malnutrition, stress, and sleeping in damp or rat-infested cellars. Every inch of her skin felt like it was on fire. Just standing was agony. But sitting was a scream trapped inside her body. As the American truck bounced over the cratered roads, every jolt sent a shockwave of blinding white pain shooting up her spine. She had tried to hover, to brace herself against the metal sides of the truck, but her legs were too weak. She collapsed onto the wooden bench, gasping. The American guard opposite her had looked up. He was chewing gum, his helmet tilted back. He said something to his friend and laughed. They're laughing at my pain, she thought. They enjoy this. They know I am suffering, and it is a game to them. The shame burned hotter than the infection. She bit her lip until it bled, refusing to cry out. A German woman does not show weakness to the enemy. Now, inside this interrogation tent, the pain is a dull, throbbing bass drum. The American officer had noticed her walking. He had seen the way she dragged her leg, the way she winced with every movement. He had ordered his men to separate her from the group. Take her to the back, he had said. To Elfriede, the back meant only one thing: an execution wall or a dark corner where no one would hear her scream. Instead, they brought her here, a medical tent. No, it looks like a butcher's shop, I said. Face the wall. The voice barks again. She stiffens. She feels a hand on her shoulder. It is heavy and firm. It pushes her forward, forcing her to lean over the table. She creates a rigid arch, her muscles locking up in anticipation of the blow. She hears the rustle of paper, then the distinct sound of glass clinking against metal. A syringe, she thinks. They're going to inject me with air, or poison. The propaganda stories flood her brain. Stories of experiments. Stories of revenge. Relax, a different voice says. This one is deeper, but just as commanding. If you stay tight, it's gonna hurt like hell. The translation happens in her head a second later. It's going to hurt. Admits Italiano. They are going to hurt her. She feels the cold air on her skin as the fabric of her skirt is roughly pulled up. The humiliation is total. She wants to vanish. She wants to die before they touch her. Tears finally leak from her eyes, cutting clean tracks through the dust on her cheeks. Then she sees it. Out of the corner of her eye, a shadow moves. The man holds something silver. It glints under the electric bulb. It is a lancet. A scalpel. He is going to cut her. Oh God, please make it quick, she prays. Please let me faint. The metal touches her skin. It is ice cold. She gasps, a sharp intake of breath that sounds like a sob. Hold her, the doctor says. 2 hands grip her shoulders, pinning her down. This is the assault. This is the moment her life ends. A sharp, searing pressure explodes in her body. It is precise and excruciating. She screams into the crook of her arm, her teeth sinking into the wool of her sleeve. It feels like he is digging into her flesh with fire. Got it, the voice grunts. The pressure releases. Then comes the sting of liquid alcohol. Iodine. It burns, but differently. It is a cleansing fire. The hands on her shoulders loosen their grip. She is panting, her vision swimming with black spots. You're lucky, Frulin, the doctor says, wiping his hands on a rag. He steps into her view for the first time. He looks tired. He has bags under his eyes deep enough to carry water. He is not looking at her with lust. He is looking at the wound with a critical, professional eye. That infection was days away from your blood, he says, gesturing to a translator. Sepsis. You would be dead by Thursday. Elfried blinks. Dead. He didn't want to kill her. He cut her. ... Save her. She slowly straightens up, her legs shaking violently. She pulls her clothes back in order, confusion warring with the lingering adrenaline. The pain is different now. The throbbing pressure is gone, replaced by a sore, empty feeling. Wait, the soldier near the door says. He disappears outside. Elfried stands there, unsure if she is dismissed or if there is more punishment. The doctor is already busy cleaning his instruments. He ignores her. The monster of her nightmares is just a man doing a job. The soldier returns. In his hands, he holds something strange. It is a red rubber ring. It looks like a child's toy, or a large donut. He walks over to her and holds it out. She stares at it, bewildered. Is this a joke? For the truck, the soldier says, miming the motion of sitting down. He places the rubber ring on the hard wooden stool next to her. Sit. Try. He points. Elfried looks at the soldier, then at the ring. Hesitantly, she lowers herself. She expects the familiar agony of contact. But as she settles onto the rubber cushion, her injury hovers in the empty space of the hole. There is no pain. For the first time in 3 weeks, she's sitting down, and she does not want to scream. The relief is so profound, so physical, that it hits her harder than the fear did. She looks up at the soldier. He is young, maybe 20. He has grease on his nose. He isn't smiling mockingly. He just gives a small, awkward nod. Better, he asks. Better, she whispers in English. The word feels strange on her tongue. She holds the rubber cushion against her chest like a shield as they lead her back to the transport. The other prisoners look at her with wide eyes, expecting to see bruises or blood. They see her clutching a red rubber ring. The truck ride to the POW camp takes 4 hours. The roads are destroyed. The vehicle jumps and slams into potholes. The other girls wince and groan with every bump. Elfried sits on her cushion, swaying with the motion. Silent, she watches the American soldiers in the front seat. They pass a cigarette back and forth. They talk about baseball. They talk about home. They are not the demons, Gobelas. Promised, they are boys who just wanted to fix a problem so she wouldn't slow them down. It was a small medical procedure. A simple rubber air cushion. In the grand scale of the war, where cities were burning and millions were dying, it was nothing. Just a speck of dust. But for Elfried, That cushion was the bridge back to humanity. It destroyed years of hate in a single second. She realized that the line between enemy and human is drawn by politicians, but it can be erased by a single act of consideration. This is a true story inspired by real historical records of the treatment of German female auxiliaries by Allied medical personnel. Do you agree that sometimes small acts of mercy require more courage than pulling a trigger? Tell us in the comments below and subscribe for more stories.